So let's be clear about this. You've got Rahm Emanuel, whose mommy and daddy were the heads of the Irgun Israeli terrorist group, who through Homeland Security is funding Israeli companies to spy on veterans groups, gun groups, and others. They are issuing law enforcement alerts for veterans that criticize anything the government does, because they know you know how to fight. I mean, it's just, it's so incredible. And here's the headline at prisonplanet.com. Please get this out to everybody. Feds use pre-crime to target disgruntled veterans. Mind Machine Project purports to find domestic terrorists by building psychological profiles from illegally wiretapped phone and email conversations. And again, the police sit there in these symposiums that they're rolling out to them and are told how they're completely breaking the law, spying on everything. I mean, this is just the lawlessness. This is real tyranny. They're doing it. And the government's contracting with foreign intelligence agencies to do it because they can't get enough feds to break the law. The government seems to be obsessed with targeting disgruntled veterans with pre-crime and other unconstitutional forms of surveillance, demonization, and harassment, the latest example being an Orwellian software program that purports to identify potential terrorists by analyzing the tone of phone conversations and emails to detect resentment towards government. You're not allowed to do that in America. America's about sitting down and shutting up and loving government and doing whatever it says. Don't criticize government-run health care. Don't criticize gun control. The Massachusetts Institute of Technology's Mind Machine Project, which is currently being demonstrated to law enforcement officials, not servants, officials, around the country, is primarily aimed at weeding out troubled veterans. That's a quote from the Buffalo News, who may be, I mean, they were at the symposium, may be planning to commit terrorist bombings or political assassinations by illegally wiretapping their phone calls and internet communications in order to build psychological profiles. As we reported yesterday, the program purports to be able to identify resentment towards government. That was the #1 search term yesterday. Good job, folks. Which is characterized by the technology's proponents as some kind of mental illness that requires the intervention of health professionals. See, because this is all outside the law. They've committed no crime, but men in white suits come. And if you don't like it, the SWAT team comes. Or worse, a trait of domestic terrorists planning imminent attacks. Why is the government so intent on targeting veterans as likely terrorists, seemingly unconcerned about Muslim extremists hiding in caves in Central Asia? Wasn't all of this set up for that? No, it was always set up for us. The big cis DHS anti-terror machine has been firmly pointed towards the American people, with the government making every effort to subject its own citizens to measures that were supposedly introduced to fight foreign extremists, the latest example being federal checkpoints that radiate American truckers with X-ray devices at highway inspection stations. Having already had their benefits slashed and their right to self-defense eviscerated with the passage of the so-called Veterans Disarmament Act, men and women who serve their country are now being treated with more disdain than drug smugglers and illegals coming across the border from Mexico. In May of 2009, the New York Times reported on how Boy Scouts were being trained by Homeland Security and FBI to disarm and forcibly arrest, quote, we have a link to this, we're not making this up, disgruntled Iraqi war veterans who were characterized in the exercise as domestic terrorists. And they're training the 14-year-olds, now 16-year-olds, to go out and hunt down and kill veterans who wouldn't turn their guns in. I mean, this is in the news, and they're saying it's good. Oh, look at these lovely little Yugon. 10 minutes into errant mayhem in their town near the Mexican border, a gunman, a disgruntled Iraqi war veteran, has already taken out two people, one slumped on a desk. I'm quoting the New York Times. The other covered in blood on the floor. See, they always cast the vets as killers. Began the article, later describing how Boy Scouts were told by a federal agent to put him on his face and put a knee in his back. I guarantee he'll shut up. They teach him how to torture people. Veterans were again targeted in the April 2009 Homeland Security Assessment Report entitled Right-Wing Extremism, Current Economic and Political Climate Fueling Resurgence in Radicalization and Recruitment. We'll finish up with this article. Then we're getting Bob Chapman on. Before we talk about the economy with him, I'm going to talk about the open borders, globalism. Fox News boss Murdoch calls for legalizing 40 million illegals.